Lindelo, and are we any clearer from this court appearance on the motive? Why were these women killed?
Well, Tembegile, I can't say we're any clearer, but we definitely do have more details around the marital status between Mokoena as well as her husband, Thabo Lishabane. You'd remember 3 weeks ago, the news broke around the deaths of these two women who were seemingly here in Polokwane on business opportunities. And from speaking to sources close to the family, we understand that they possibly were actually lured here, and there was actually no business prospects for them. We know that they were killed execution style. They were killed in a hail of bullets outside a warehouse in Magna Via here in Polokwane. And we know that the suspects fled off in what we know to be an Etios, a red Etios. And several of these suspects were actually apprehended, or should I say arrested, in and around the Ekurhuleni area in Gauteng. The fifth suspect, someone much closer to home, now that we know that that is the husband of Mokoena, who was also arrested allegedly in hospital after he attempted to commit suicide. And what we understand from some of the details that came out of court today is that they were certainly going through some marital issues, and we know from the sources close to the family that they were certainly also going through a divorce.
And see, another interesting moving part from the hearing today is the state seemingly disputing the psychological report submitted by Lishabane's lawyer. Why aren't they sold on that?
A lot of loopholes, I must say, that were presented by this, by the defense, rather, the psychological report that was submitted on Tuesday by Lishabane's lawyer. A lot of details that are missing around, the assessment that was done, and what the psychological, what the psychologist, rather, that was brought in by the state today raised some of these red flags, that there's a lot of risk factors in a psychological assessment that seemingly have not been noted. One of which is the fact that Lishabane lost his wife in such a brutal manner. That is not noted in this report. The fact that it seems that this report is making him to seem to be of sound mind, that he's not traumatized at all. The psychologist pointing out that if somebody had lost a spouse in this manner and wasn't actually facing trial, they should be traumatized by this event. But the fact that the report isn't noting the fact that Lishabane is facing a Schedule 6 offense, the fact that he could possibly be trying to evade trial, and that is why he attempted to commit suicide, none of that is being noted in this report.
We also got to learn, Slee, some detail about the kind of medication that Mr. Lishabane is taking.
Well, in fact, the psychological report doesn't actually tell us what it is that Mr. Lishabane took that landed him in hospital. All we know is that he took some tranquilizers. We possibly know that it could have been sleeping pills. And the psychologist that was brought in by the state today saying that it's very weird. It's a risk factor. And the fact that the psychological report doesn't note the fact that Lishabane seemingly took these sleeping pills and then tried to drive is quite scary, and also just strange in terms of what clinical psychologists use when they assess somebody in their reports. So what we do know is that in the next court appearance, this particular state psychologist will be doing her own assessment of Lishabane and submitting her own report. And what the state is submitting to the court is that they believe that Lishabane, as well as the others, should remain in prison, but Lishabane in particular, because it does seem as though he did attempt to evade trial by taking his life the first time and could possibly try again if he is released on bail.
ENC reporter Lindelo Masikane live for us outside the Polokwane Magistrates Court. Thank you, Slee.